I thought Tottenham played really well today, and I thought that was Ange ball. Always looking to go forward, always looking to make things happen, and Tottenham looked like a different team in the final third today. An XG of 3.51, 6 big chances created, and probably could have scored 4 or 5. The response to going 1-0 down within 10 seconds was incredible, and I was really impressed by Tottenham Hotspur in that first half, and it was an unchanged lineup, I believe, from the Arsenal game. My standout was James Maddison. He was man of the match. I thought Bentancur looked back to his best. I think Solanke had a good game. Johnson, that goal was important for confidence. Son, I think he looked tired and didn't look like himself, but did have a good game. I think he created like 7 chances and got 2 assists. And I thought Kulu was all right as well, although I do think his decision-making wasn't as good as normal. So I'm going to give you my thoughts as a neutral on Tottenham's game versus Brentford. I do apologise that this match reaction's out a bit later, but obviously watched the Manchester United game, then filmed a Man United video for my main channel, which we're not going to talk about that game because we missed 6 big chances in that game. But Eze also could have scored like 2, so maybe it balanced it out. But let's talk about Tottenham. Now, Tottenham actually had less possession today, but this season, Tottenham are averaging around 60% possession, which puts them first above Manchester City, which shows sort of a little bit about Ange Ball and that, Ange is implementing a system. Because I think people say Ange isn't implementing a system. What is Ange Ball? We're not seeing it. There's a lot of negativity. And I didn't really watch your Carabao Cup game, but apparently I was very lucky I didn't bother to watch that. Apparently it wasn't very good. Obviously watched the Arsenal game, but I can see what Ange is trying to do, and I can see changes in Tottenham's underlying numbers. Now, it's not all about numbers. It's about what happens on the pitch. And you can see Tottenham are dominating games more. They're looking to attack more. It's about players clicking. It's about players finding form. And it is, Tottenham don't have a team that's good enough to win the league. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think your back four, very good, picks itself. I think the midfield three of Bentancur, Maddison, Kulu looks good, but there's definitely limitations in terms of that, but I think it looks good. I think it works well. I'd stick with that. And you've got really good depth with Berg, Bull, Sarr, Gray, all of that as well. I think, Brennan Johnson is good when he comes off the bench, hit and miss, but I think there's a good player in Johnson. I think Solanke's a good striker and Son's a good winger. But Tottenham are definitely a work in progress, but I see that progress at Tottenham. I've seen it this season in terms of your attacking play, in terms of your possession statistics. And I thought that the mentality you showed to go 1-0 down, you responded. Sometimes I think it is Tottenham where, maybe I'm thinking of Newcastle, I think it is Tottenham, where I feel like there's a few times where you've conceded a goal and it's woke you up a little bit. I feel like you sort of respond to sort of Tottenham are good, but there's always something that triggers a response from them. Or maybe I'm thinking of Newcastle. But I thought Tottenham dominated the first half. I thought Tottenham were absolutely brilliant. I think there was a few shaky moments in the second half, normally around Vicario, and maybe Goodaway one today. He did make some good saves, though. I think Vicario, and I saw someone say this, and I can't remember who, but said, is Vicario like an Aaron Ramsdale for Tottenham? Really good shot stopper, but there's elements of shakiness in there. There's elements of set pieces where maybe if Tottenham want to go to the next level, he's just a guy that gets Tottenham as a Champions League club. And if Tottenham want to move from a Champions League club to a title force, then you got that next level. But I think there's a good keeper there, but he has some shaky moments. I thought Brennan Johnson looked good. I thought really well taken goal from him, really good goal. And I think 2 goals and 2 for him. He's growing the confidence, done so well. Did Tottenham overpay for him a little bit? Maybe. Is he inconsistent? Yeah, but trust me, like, Brennan Johnson's so overhated. I'm saying this as a Man United fan. Normally when I watch Brennan Johnson, I think he's quite good. I think he has an impact. Like, he's had bad games for you, but every player has bad games. Sometimes I've seen Kevin De Bruyne have stinkers, not comparing him to De Bruyne. But I always see him come off the bench. He's impactful. I think he was one of your standout players. Was it the Everton game or the game after where he came off the bench and he was looking to make things happen? I think that he's been good for Tottenham for the most part. It's just inconsistent. He comes off the bench, he makes an impact, he looks to make things happen. I think that he's very overhated, and we'll talk about that later, but 2 goals and 2 for him. I think he actually ranked second for assists off the bench last season as well, or something leading to goal off the bench last season as well. Like, he can have an impact. I think elements of it is confidence and just growing as a young player as well. But I thought that he did well. I thought Maddison was man of the match by a long while. I thought Solanke's first goal was good. I think his all-round play, his hold-up play was good. We'll talk about that. I thought Tottenham were playing attacking football. I thought we were seeing Ange Ball attacking football. I thought the football Tottenham were playing was really good. And I think Tottenham were 2-1 up. They had a lot of chances. Was it going to be one of those where they draw 2-2? No, they got 3-1. They killed off the game. And I think Ange then got his subs right. But look, I'm 4 minutes in and I have 5 minutes nearly been waffling. Let's talk about James Maddison versus Brentford. 1 goal, 3 chances created, 43 out of 49 accurate passes, 8 passes into the final third, which is a very good statistic. His carrying and passing and progression of the ball was fantastic. 2 out of 4 accurate long balls, 4 ball recoveries, 10 out of 18 ground balls won. He got involved, he got deeper, 4 fouls won, and he was picking up the ball in space, and he was sort of getting more to the left. I noticed that he was getting more wider and really making things happen. So let's talk about James Maddison. He was man of the match, and I think him and Kulusevski work really well together, because when it's just Maddison in the 10, he's kind of isolated and everyone knows to mark him because he's the creative outlet. Now the defenders have to split that between Maddison and Kulu. Kulu does the right half space, Maddison does the left half space. The defenders have to split that so Maddison can pick up the balls in more space. He can drop a little bit deeper, pick up the ball. Son is sort of coming inside, outside. You've got a doggy coming up. I think it's working well. And I noticed that Son was coming a little bit more central. Maddison was coming a bit more wider, because Maddison is a good dribbler, good ball player. He's not got rapid pace, but I thought the rotations there was working really well. And I think that Maddison's looked really good this season. I actually think he's probably been Tottenham's best player so far this season, if you want my honest opinion. I think he's looked good. I think today was his best game of the season. I think he dictated play so well. I felt like everything that was happening came through him, like him beating the press, playing those line-breaking passes. I thought James Maddison was absolutely fantastic today, always looking to get on the ball, always looking to impose himself. And I think Tottenham's final third play was really good. And I think the big element around Tottenham is, and the Arsenal game, Tottenham dominated possession, but was like, oh, Tottenham's final third play, they're not converting all the chances. You could have beat Newcastle. I think it was the Newcastle game that Brennan Johnson came on and he was good in, not the Everton game. But you could have beat Newcastle, and you probably should have beat Newcastle, but you couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. And the big worry, I think, around Tottenham and Tottenham fans is, can we put the ball in the back of the net kind of thing. But I thought Tottenham's creativity, they looked a lot better, and they started to put the ball in the back of the net and were creating a lot and looked a lot better in attack. I think Maddison was a massive part of that. I think he did well 1v1 going out to wide areas, but I think it was the weight of passes, vision, his intelligence that worked so well, because with Kulu and Maddison, you've got these two creative threats. So as I said earlier, defenders, sort of split responsibility. But I think they both have IQs and technical levels where they can read each other well. They both can dribble with the ball. They're quite good in tight spaces, can play those quick 1-2s. They're not quick enough to be wingers, particularly in Ange's system. They're not going to hold the touchline. They're people that operate probably best in a wide 8, wide 10 number role, where they can be in the half spaces, where it's a little bit about skill and maneuverability. And I think Ange is sort of sussing out his system, that Son isn't a touchline winger, but isn't a striker. He's sort of a winger, and then making him come more central, and Maddison can go out wide and Kulu can go out wide, but they're better in the central role, so they play central with the ability to go out wide. I feel like Ange is changing things. I do. I think people will say Ange is stubborn, he doesn't change his ways, and yes, elements he doesn't. But I feel like he's changing things and realising what suits the profiles of his squad best and making those little adaptations. That's what I personally thought today. And I thought Maddison stand out just with the decision-making, the vision. I think he deserved the goal. I think the weight of the pass, the ball, the decisions he was making, the passes, the dribbling, retaining the ball, I thought that he was really good. And I think the Kulu, Maddison, Bentancur almost looked like Tottenham's midfield three. And that's been the question. What's Tottenham's best midfield three? Because last season he had a run of like 10 games where Basuma, Sarr, and Maddison worked, and then it just didn't work. And then you did a Bentancur, Sarr, Maddison, and maybe an Archie Gray, Sarr, Bergvall we saw in pre-season. There's so many things, but I think that midfield three looks like it. Although Bentancur might be getting banned. Is he getting banned? Is he not getting banned? I don't know. You have to tell me in the comments. But I thought that, the depth that you've got in midfield is really, really good. It's just about finding the balance and finding the consistency in midfield. And I thought Bentancur, you could argue, was man of the match. I thought it was a very good performance. I think he's working his way back to pre-injury levels. He reminded me of Conte Bentancur today. Very good composed on the ball, back-to-back strong performances from him. I think he's always kind of good and composed. But it's sometimes about, the defensive elements of his game. And today I thought defensively he was brilliant, because when you've got Maddison and Kulu ahead of you, he's got a big job to do, because they're going to be the creative outlets. So he needs to do the off-the-ball stuff to unlock them going further forward. And I felt defensively he was really good, cutting off the passing lanes, winning the ball back, breaking up play so much. I thought his off-the-ball work was really, really good, really impressive for Tottenham. I think, when he wins the ball back, he likes to move it fast, which helps Tottenham create more chances. And I thought he was really good in the Arsenal game, if I'm going to be totally honest with you, despite Tottenham not having their best game then. I think winning it back relentlessly, winning back the ball, composure, experience, and he looks more confident. I think sometimes when you recover from an injury, there's a mental aspect to it as well, where sometimes players don't want to sprint as fast because they're worried of getting injured again. And it's the physical and the mental recovery. And I think he's working his way back, because there's no doubt in my mind that this guy's a good player. It's just you have to show it. And he didn't for a little bit. He was a bit hot and cold. And then I think Matty Cash got him injured as soon as he came back or something, didn't he? I thought Solanke impressed me. I don't want this video to be too long, so let me power through this. I thought his off the ball link-up play and awareness to drop back was superb. I think that he works incredibly hard. I think winning fouls, I think getting the team up the pitch, mobile, athletic, some really good touches as well in there, good work rate. I think his work rate, his mobility, his athleticism is what impresses me, and I think that's why Ange probably went for him over an Ivan Toney. I think scoring goals just key, because as a striker, once you got your first goal, that's almost like a weight lifted off you and you get that confidence. I remember Rasmus Højlund didn't score. Well, Rasmus Højlund scored in the Champions League for United, and he scored 6 goals in like 5 Champions League games for Man United, but I think it took him like 9 Premier League games to actually score a goal. And then Rasmus Højlund went and scored in 7 games in a row for United, even though he got absolutely no service. And I think you can see what confidence does to players like Marcus Rashford. Confidence, different guys. So I think their goal is just good for the mental side. But I think he's very good in all phases. He can drop deep, hold up the ball, dribble with the ball, pass the ball, link up. But the pressing was really good. I thought that really helped Tottenham and be more threatening, was making it difficult for Brentford. I don't think Brentford were good. I feel like Brentford just had every single one of their players' bodies on the line for that first half, when Tottenham are really good. And I think he can dribble. I think he's shown that he's quite a complete striker. And I think there's times where he could be more ruthless, but I think sometimes that just comes with finding your touch with a striker. But I thought a good performance, and I think he will get goals for Tottenham. I think he'll be a good signing. I thought Brennan Johnson had a good game as well, threatening, looking to make an impact. I think he's so overhated. Like, I've watched Sancho, Anthony, Memphis Depay, Mkhitaryan at Man United, some of them big money signings. And honestly, like, Brennan Johnson at Tottenham's probably shown more than those names I've listed. Now, that is not like an impressive thing, but, you know, I see everyone bigging up Sancho because he's got 2 assists in 2 games for Chelsea. I watched Sancho today. Yeah, he passed it to Jackson, and Jackson went and did a worldie of a run and scored a brilliant goal. That's an assist technically, but Sancho wasn't that good for Chelsea today. But Sancho's getting hailed for these tiny things that if Brennan Johnson had that game, he'd be slammed for. I feel like Brennan Johnson is judged too harshly. He's young, maybe you overpaid a bit, he's inconsistent, but I don't think he's a bad player. I really don't. I think he seems better a lot of the time when he comes off the bench for Tottenham, and I think he's potentially someone you will need to upgrade on in the summer. But I generally quite like the guy. Like, I've always thought he was overhated, in my opinion. And Son, yeah, I think he had a decent game. I feel like he didn't look 100% sharp on himself, but he had 2 assists. He created 7 chances. He's one of those guys that has output, and I think that's what Tottenham have needed lately, output, to get those goals over the line. And Son can get the goals and get the assists and get the numbers, which I think Tottenham need. And then I also just see things like Moore, Bergvall, Gray. I think Europa League and games coming around, they're going to get their chance. But I do think that, you know, Ange is building something for the future. And I know there's been a lot of Ange out lately. But I do feel like I'm seeing growth in Ange ball, just from a neutral perspective. And there's something there, and he is building for the future. And I think Tottenham should do what I did with Man United. And I said, I'm not going to judge Ten Hag in his first 2 seasons because every manager seems to fail at this club. I'm going to judge him in his 3rd season. I feel like they should give Ange 2 full seasons. Then say, 3rd season, you've brought another 3 players in the summer. Ange now has to perform. And are you seeing progress? Are you seeing results? I think, you know, it's 2 seasons, you know, Arteta gets 8th, and then he gets 5th. I think that 3rd season is when you can really judge a manager, particularly at a club like Tottenham when there's a lot to undo and you're going from Conte to Ange ball, which is so different. Let me know your thoughts down below, Tottenham fans. Thank you for watching.